Hello, everyone. The first one, and the first one of many, of uh, the player ratings of the 2020-2021 season. And I am joined by West Ham Online. How are you, sir?
Very well. I'm excited for today's game. Hopefully we
Mm,
get sixth over the line.
yeah. Well, let's get into it straight away. We're doing a season review. Yeah, player ratings, mate. And no better place to start than in goal with this man. Fabianski, mate. Assess his season and give me a rating.
Yeah. I feel like in his 3 years at West Ham, last season was his worst season because of injuries mainly. But at the end of the season, he had a bit of bad form with the Brighton game and the Liverpool game, etc. This
Mm,
season, he's been pretty good. I don't remember him making too many mistakes. The one the other week against Newcastle was a big error. And that's the only major error I remember him making. But for the most part, he's been pretty good. I'd, I'd probably give him a 7 though, because I don't think he's been quite as good as he was in his first season at the club. But yeah, I think he's done a good job.
mm. Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. That's fair enough. Let's go to the reserve goalkeeper now, Mr. Randolph.
Mm, he's not played much, and to be fair to him, when he has played, he's been injured. Like he's been playing with injuries against Everton, Man City, and then the other day against West Brom, he was fine, and I think he done decently against West Brom. I think he done well against Everton, and I thought against Man City he was pretty poor. So I'd probably just give him a standard 5 for his season.
Standard 5 for Randolph. Yeah, I'll agree with you there, mate. Right, let's go to Mr. Cafal.
Um, Taking into consideration what we paid for him as well, 5.4 million. It wasn't a signing, not to be disrespectful to him. Like we wasn't excited about the
Mm,
signing. We didn't think he'd do badly, but we didn't know anything about him, and he's exceeded expectations. I'd give him a 9. I think he's been brilliant. Defensively, he's been good. Going forward, he's done mostly well. A few times his crossing has been a bit off, but you'd expect that from any player. He's got 6 assists as well, which is good, and he's completes so many yards as well. The distance he covers is unbelievable for a right back, and with him and Souček, it's like playing with extra men. They cover that much distance, so yeah, I'd give him a 9. I think he's been probably the second best right back in the league.
Who's your first best right back?
When he's played, I'd say Cancelo at Man City.
Mm. Yeah, well, ain't bad being second to him, I must admit.
Yeah.
Right, where goes this man next?
I think he's improved this season compared to last season when he played. I thought last season both him and Creswell were horrendous, if I'm honest. Um, but Fredericks this year, when he's played, he's been pretty decent. He's definitely improved. But he hasn't played a lot either. So I think I'd give him a 6, just above average when he's played. And I think he's done a good job. I'm happy with him staying, certainly, if we get European football as a backup.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Mr. Ben Johnson.
Another 6 for me. He's one who I've been a bit disappointed with since the turn of the year. I thought when he played earlier on in the season, he done brilliantly, and I probably would have given him an 8 if he played like that every week. But he didn't. He tailed off. I remember the first game when he played really poorly was Man City away.
Mm,
I thought it was like they had 12 men with him on the pitch. And you made the comment, even when he was playing well, that you wasn't happy with him at left wing back because he's right footed and he has to come inside, which at the time I didn't agree with, but I think you were right because we seem to have less width when he's in the team because he always has to come inside. And I think his passing lately has been shocking, if I'm honest. So
mm.
I think maybe a loan might be ideal for him, but it depends if we can get the squad numbers in the summer. But I'd probably give him a 6.
Yeah, the reason why I said that about him being on the left hand side because it's just obvious. Like he cuts inside, and what it is, good teams will read that and go right. We'll just push him onto his left because he hasn't got a left foot, and he's as good as useless. So
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with you, mate, on that one. I must admit, I do agree with you on that one. This
yeah.
man,
Um, he's definitely exceeded what I thought he could do. I thought he was finished, but he's been. Let's be honest, he's been brilliant going forward in terms of his
mm,
chance creation. He's literally got the most assists for a defender in the league now with 8. And I think last year he maybe got 1. So it's a huge, huge improvement. His set pieces, you'd give him 10 out of 10 for set pieces. They've literally been the best out of anyone in the league. Defending at times can be shaky still, and I'm not sure if I'd be happy with him in the latter stages of European competition. But although I admit I'm not Creswell's biggest fan at times, I think this season you've got to take your hat off to him because he's been brilliant. I'd probably give him an 8.
yeah, I'm in line to agree with you there, mate. I really am. I think he's done all right. But defensively, bit
Yeah.
suspect for me defensively. But yeah, I agree. Mesoaku.
When he's played at the start of the season, he was doing really well, and then he's just had a lot of injuries, which is a shame because it means that when we've not been playing well in the 4 at the back, we couldn't switch to the 5 because we found out Johnson wasn't good enough there. Um, Still defensively, he has his issues, but I think mostly when he's played, he's done well. So I'd give him a 7.
Well, I'd have to disagree with you on that one, but yeah, it's your player ratings, it's not mine. So there you go. Uh, Dawson.
When he came in, first 3 months, he was one of the best defenders in the league. Then he had a shocking period. Let's be honest, 6 games maybe where he was really, really poor. And then lately he's been brilliant again. So um, I'd probably give him a 7 because he's definitely exceeded expectation. I think that period that he went through was horrendous, but mostly despite him actually not playing as much as it seems because he only came into the side like December time. I'd probably give him a 7 for his contribution.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough, mate. Angelo Obona.
Uh, Another player who's had injury worries, but when he's played, he's probably if he played the whole season, he would definitely be in the contention for Hammer of the Year because he was brilliant. He was my Hammer of the Year personally until he got injured against Man United. Now he's not even in the running, but I'd probably give him an 8. I can't go any higher because of the injuries, but I'm a huge Ogbonna fan. I think he's a bit suspect on the ball at
Hmm.
times. But defensively, he's brilliant. I do think we need a new centre back though. I'm not saying to replace Ogbonna, but he turns 34 today, I think, or maybe even 35. And Dawson's already a bit shaky at times, so I think we need to bring in a confident young centre back just so if them two are going through bad patches of form, we have someone to rely on because, as I say, Ogbonna's as good as he is, he's not getting any younger.
I agree. I agree totally. Issa Diop.
Um, well, I think you know my thoughts on Diop. I'm not
Mm.
a huge fan. I speak to him quite a bit, and he's a nice guy, but unfortunately, I can't say the same about his season. Um, he's just too erratic. I think he looks like a rabbit in headlights at times. Um, yeah, I'm not his biggest fan. I don't think he's confident enough defensively. I think he has good attributes. Like his slide tackling is good. I think he's good in the air at times, and I think overall he can have brilliant games like we saw against Tottenham. But too erratic for me. I'd probably give him a 5 for the season.
Ooh, that's harsh, mate. That's harsh. But I know you're not a fan, so it ain't my player rating. So yeah. Balbuena.
Plays his last game for the club today, which is sad. I think when he's played, he's done well. To be fair, at the start of the season, people were forgetting how good he was. Until he got injured, he was playing really well. But once again, another player who's had injuries, been in and out of the team. At times, hasn't really performed to the standard that we know he can. I'd give him a 6.
6 out of 10 for Mr. Balbuena. Right, we move to the midfielders. And Mr. Declan Rice, captain, leader, inspiration, everything.
9 for me. Brilliant. Probably one of that contenders for Hammer of the Year. I think I know who's going to win it after doing the poll yesterday, but Rice for me would be a 9. I think he's been brilliant defensively. I think he's improved offensively. And I think on the ball now, he's fantastic. I think he's our best central midfielder on the ball, which I wouldn't have said 2 years ago, despite how good he was defensively. So, yeah, brilliant season again from Rice. He had a little injury period, but it weren't for too long. And apart from that, he's been fantastic. And it's shown as well in the fact that he's now arguably one of the first names on the team sheet for England and getting man the match when he plays.
Yeah, I agree, mate. He's been top draw. His partner, Thomas Souček.
Another 9 for me. Another 9. Without Rice, he did look a little bit suspect at times because he couldn't go forward, and we all know he's not brilliant on the ball at times. But goal scoring wise, most goals in open play out of any midfielder in the league, with central midfielder, which is brilliant to see. I think he's got 10 goals now in the league, 14 in all comps because of his contribution for Czech Republic as well. And hopefully he scores again today, and I think he might do. So, yeah. I've seen people putting him in their team of the season, and I don't think that's unfair, personally. He wouldn't be in mine, if I'm honest, but I think he's been very good, and I've got to give him a 9, the same as Sufal and Declan Rice.
Do you think, before we move on, do you think it's a worry, though? Because if Rice goes down, he's not the same player.
Yeah, I think it's a worry if we sell Rice, if Souček's price will decrease a lot because he won't be able to play the same way unless, of course, we somehow sign a midfielder who's anywhere near Rice's standard, which I highly doubt. So, yeah, I'd honestly, if we are going to sell one of the two, if that makes sense, which don't get me wrong, I don't want either to go, I'd rather sell Souček whilst his price is still high because I don't think he's got that longevity in his game like Rice has, because as we said, if Souček can't go forward, he's a bit limited. So if we are to sell one of the two, for me it would be Souček.
That's fair enough, mate. Snodgrass left in January.
I think he played 4 minutes and they were against Tottenham, and when he was on the pitch we scored the winning goal, not the winning goal, the goal from Lanzini, and he was involved in it. So we'll just give him a 10 out of 10 for smiling a lot.
Yeah. And for him just being a nice geezer in general.
Yeah.
Lovely. Mark Noble.
I'll be the first to admit when he came into the team when Rice got injured, I was concerned. But I think he done brilliantly, especially against Leicester. I thought that was one of the best individual performances of the season by one of our players. I thought it was an unbelievable game by him. Start of the season, he was rubbish. Against Newcastle on opening day, he really was. He's not a number 10, so I don't know why he was playing there. But in Rice's absence, he done well. Before that, he wasn't playing well, don't get me wrong. So I can't give him too high. I'd probably give Noble a 6 as well.
Yeah, I agree. Manuel Lanzini.
Despite his game recently against Burnley, I've been disappointed with him this season. I thought when he's played, he's not looked great. I'm not a fan of him in the final third anymore. I think I'm quite disappointed. Of course, he did produce the moment of the season for me away at Tottenham. So I'm not going to give him bonus points for that, but that was brilliant. And thank you for that to him. But apart from that, I think he's been poor. So I'm going to, maybe a bit harsh, but when you've got 1 goal as an attacking midfielder and 0 assists, I'm not going to give him a high rating. I'm going to go for a 5.
I don't know. I think if I was doing this player ratings, and I'd say it right now, I definitely gets a 6 for me. I agree with you on the sort of stats side of it, but that goal against
Yeah,
Tottenham, well, that goal goes in history.
yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? That's a history making goal. I know, and that's a point. But that to me started this season off for us in a way. But yeah, 5 for you for Mr. Lanzini. This man, Pablo
Um,
Fornals.
we've been critical of him, us two, but I think mostly he's done well in terms of his contribution for the team. Final third, he has to improve, but he has, if I'm honest, since last 3 months, I'd say he's been one of our best players. Man City he was brilliant, Burnley he was brilliant, Everton he was our best player. Still, I have worries about him, and I'm not sure if he should be there in 3 years' time if we want to really kick on in terms of in the starting 11. But I'd definitely give him a 7 for this season.
That's fair enough, mate. We've got a 7 for Mr. Fornals. Jared Bowen, first
Um,
full season with West Ham.
He's done well, but I think he can do better, and I have a lot of faith in Bowen. There was a period when he was rubbish, and me and you spoke about it. That 12 games, he was genuinely diabolical. But at the same time, the guy guarantees goals. He's had 13 goal contributions, which is very good for a winger, and he's not even a main starter a lot of the time, or a player who he comes off a lot as well. And as we say, he's not been in his best form all the time. I genuinely think he has potential to be a 15 goal a season winger. If he's getting 8 this year, I definitely have faith that in the future um,
Mm,
he can kick on and do that. So I'm going to give him a 7, but I think he can. I think he can kick on.
yeah, I agree with you there. I like Jared, but sometimes he goes missing. And he
Yeah.
goes missing for a long period of time, and that is a problem. Like I think when he's in front of goal, he don't miss. He don't miss. He's deadly. He was like that at Hull, and he's like that with us. But sometimes he don't. He shoots when he should pass, and he passes when he should shoot, and it's just
Hmm.
decision making in the final third for me. But yeah, I agree there, mate. I do 100%. This man coming
Yeah.
in January, tore it up.
Yeah. Quickly to say on Bowen before I go on to Lingard really quick, I think if Bowen was here, he'd give himself probably a 6 or a 7 as well, because I know he's a harsh critic of himself, which is good because we want him to kick on.
Mm,
But yeah, Lingard, let's be honest, he's been brilliant for us despite being a bit average in the last few games. Before
mm,
that, he was the best player in the league for a few months. I can't give him too high because he's not played the whole season, but I can't give him too low because he's been that good. I'd give him an 8. Personally, I think he's been brilliant, and I really do want him to stay at the club. I'm just hoping that David Sullivan doesn't forget where he keeps all his money.
Do you what would have made you give him a 9 or a 10? And don't like let's not think that it's because he ain't been here for a full season. Because he come in January and the games that he's won us games, isn't he? Like he scored the goal against Tottenham. He scored goals against Villa.
Yeah.
Like he's won us points this year. So what makes you say that he can't get a 9? I understand with a 10 because he hasn't been perfect, but like why is he
I
not good enough? You know what I mean?
You can certainly argue a 9. I just personally I don't really like giving players who haven't played that much too big a
Yeah,
rating. Same with Dawson, because we've seen with Dawson their form can go off, and I think it's
yeah.
unfair to compare them to players who have played full seasons. And Lingard's form has been a bit patchy lately, so it would be interesting if he was here for a few more months to see whether we had the Lingard who when he came in, or the Lingard of the last few games.
I agree, mate. I agree. This man, Mr. Ben
Ooh,
Rama.
um, shame because he's not played as much as I would have liked. Um, and without saying much, I don't know if that will continue, but yeah, it's sad. I hope next season he really kicks on and gets a lot of game time, but I don't have full confidence in it. When he's played, he's done well. Not been very good in front of goal, if I'm honest, but I think that will come. I'm going to be a bit harsh on him just because I think he can do better, but I'm going to give him a 6. Um, I think he's got a lot of assists. I
Mm.
think he's done well in the final third in terms of creating chances, but just because of the lack of game time he's had and his patchy form, I'm just going to give him a 6, just above average.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. Sebastian Haller left in January.
Um, I'm not a fan of Haller. I'm really not a fan of Haller, if I'm honest with you.
Mm.
Um, I thought his movement for us was borderline disgraceful at times. Um, games against Liverpool, for example, he literally was so stagnant. It was annoying to watch. I think he was a decent finisher. And he had 7 goals in all competitions, which for half a season, that does make him look a lot better than he is because let's be honest, most of those goals were against pub sides in the cup. Um, but I've got to give him credit for that. He done well in the cup, got us 3. Well, he got us 2 crucial goals in the league and then a goal against Wolves as well, which, let's be honest, that game was over, but he still scored, which was good. I'll just give him a 6 as well, I think.
Yeah.
I think James has gone, lads. I don't know where he's gone, but yeah, 6 for me for Haller. I just feel like the problem with Haller is he moves so much less than Antonio. It's ridiculous, and I think he has to improve on that.
Right, I'm back.
Well,
I
what
went
happened
missing.
there?
Oh, God knows. Don't know. I went missing um, for a bit. Where was we? Sebastian Haller, right. Yarmolenko, mate.
Um, he's been shocking. If I'm honest, when he's played, he's been poor. Um, he's not got a lot of time as well. Let's be honest, he's not got a lot of game time. But when he has played Southampton, he started was really poor. He's just doing step overs. The only game when I remember him doing anything was when we drew 2-2 with Brighton. He was pretty good actually that game. He got an assist for Ben Johnson, and he was
Mm.
actually causing their defenders some problems. So that game and the cup games when he played well as well, like Haller stat padded a bit in the cups, but in the league he's not been great. 5 for me.
Mm. Um, yeah, I agree there. I do. I do agree with you on that one. Antonio.
Oh, um, I think he can score more goals, but it is promising the fact that he's got 10 despite being injured. Um, and I do want to say, I think he can get 15 plus goals if he's not injured. But let's be honest, that's all hypothetical. He won't not be injured. He's a guy who picks up injuries all the time, and this year's been horrendous injury wise. Um, he's done well. He's got 5 assists as well, so 15 goal involvements for him, which is actually that's pretty good. Um,
Mm.
I'm going to give him an 8.
That's that's fair enough, mate. Best performance of the season that you've enjoyed
Um,
watching.
for me, people say the Wolves 4-0, but for me, I'm going to go for the Leicester, the game after 3-0, because I just thought our attacking display in the first half was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant at both ends. In the Wolves 4-0, they still should have scored 2 goals minimum. In the 3-0 against Leicester, the attacking in the first half was brilliant. Second half was the best I've seen us defend in years. We didn't give them a sniff of the goal. They got nowhere near. They had 4 shots all game, 1 on target. Our defensive structure was fantastic. Ogbonna, oh, he was like Maldini that day.
Mm.
So for me, it's that one.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. Right, I'm going to ask you this one. Moyes' backroom staff.
Moyes, I've got to give him. I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him a 9. I'm going to give him a 10. I'm going to give him a 10. Actually, no. Do I want it? No, I'll give him a 9. I'll give him a 9. I can't give him a 10. But I'll explain why I debated it. I still think he's got a few things wrong. I think his treatment of Benrahma isn't great, and I think he's at times gone a bit too defensive against top sides when I would have rather we gone a bit more attacking, which I think showed when we played Man City. We came out a bit more and we actually looked pretty good. But I think if he can improve on that next season, imagine where we'll be, because against teams outside the Big Six, we're almost immaculate. And for him to come in when we were 17th in the division last year, done a decent job, kept us up, which was what was required. Still, people didn't have a whole lot of faith in him. And when we lost 2-0 to Newcastle, first game of the season, people feared the worst. But he's took us from 17th to 6th in the league, from 39 points last season to 62 plus this year. Between 62 and 65 we're going to get, hopefully 65. But that's a massive improvement. That's like a 15, 16 point improvement if we win today. And that is not an easy ask in the Premier League. So I think we've been, structure-wise, we're miles better than we were under Pellegrini. Under Pellegrini, the team hardly run. They had no running ability, if that makes sense. Their stamina was horrendous. Since Moyes has come in, stamina-wise, we've been one of the best teams in the league. But I've got to give a lot of credit to his backroom staff as well, because I feel like these days managers get a lot of credit, but not a lot of people look to the people behind him, who I think have been just as good. Kevin Nolan, I think, by the looks of it, has done an outstanding job. Everyone said his leadership has been class as well. And I know the players I speak to can't say enough about him. They think maybe when Moyes goes, he could even be a manager, which is interesting. And I think Stuart Pearce has done a great job as well. He's improved us defensively since he came in. And he's just one of those people that isn't afraid to say what he thinks, if you like. And we need that in the dressing room. And there's been a lot of others. Irvine as well has done a great job. And when Moyes had COVID, he filled in, and we actually won 7-0 on aggregate in them 2 games. So Alan Irvine, a big shout out to him as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of the backroom staff as well that I've missed, but them 3 and Moyes in particular have done outstanding, and I'd give them all a 9 out of 10 for their contribution.
9 out of 10 it is. And finally, final question. GSB, summer, winter transfer windows.
Summer, they got Suchek, good signing. Sufal, good signing. Benrahma, good signing. But
Dawson.
Yeah, Dawson, good signing. But let's be honest, it wasn't encouraging. Moyes has got the best out of those players. Sufal, we didn't know a lot about. I doubt GSB had ever watched him. I think Moyes and Suchek were the only people who had actually watched him play. Suchek, okay, I've got to give them a bit of credit for that one, because he cost 18 million, which is a decent amount, and they put in that clause that meant if we stayed up, we bought him. So that was actually smart negotiating from them. One of the only bits of credit they get. Dawson, horrendous from them in my opinion. Dawson done well for us. He's done brilliantly, but on paper we needed a brilliant centre half to come in, and I still feel at times we've been poor in that department. Without Ogbonna, at times we look shaky defensively, and they just didn't get their targets. The targets Moyes wanted. They always went for the second option. He wanted Tarkowski and Fofana. Honestly, that shows how good Moyes' scouting has been, because Fofana has gone to be one of the best defenders in the league at Leicester. And we all know Tarkowski is a good defender. He wanted Ebere Eze, who's been brilliant for Palace. And on every instance, we've got his second target. As much as I rate Benrahma, he wanted Eze. And if that's what the manager wants, they should have gone for Eze, especially considering he was cheaper than Ben Rama. And I feel like they only went for these people because they were clients of Will Salthouse, which I don't know. I just feel in the winter as well, they didn't get a striker. Was that a bit of Moyes as well? Probably, but I don't know. I feel like they're just deflecting the blame onto him at this point. So for their contribution, I'd give them a 2.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? What about the winter transfer window, though? Bringing Jesse Lingard in. Do you think that was a good them, or do you think that was more Moyes?
That was definitely more Moyes. They didn't have a clue about Lingard. Once again, Moyes had worked with Lingard in the past. Obviously, they knew he was England international in the past, but I feel like that was all Moyes' work.
Yeah,
I can't even say credit to them for paying the fee because they didn't include an option to buy, which I'm sure they could have negotiated if they really wanted. The only thing I can give them credit for is paying his wages. And yeah, I don't know. The winter transfer, I'd give them, once again, I'd give them a 4 maybe, because we didn't get what we needed. We got Lingard, which was good, but we needed more.
yeah, I agree, mate. I really do. And yeah, that is about it, mate. That is your player ratings. Just for before I go, quickly tell me who's your player of the year.
Declan Rice. I do appreciate when people say Sufal, and I do appreciate when people say Sushek. But for me, Rice is our best player, and I feel like he's been outstanding again this year. So if I'm going to go on who's my player of the season, I'd go Declan Rice.
Yeah, that's fair enough, mate. That's fair enough. Well, that's been West Ham Online's player ratings 2020-2021 season squad ratings. And yeah, it's been good. It's been good, mate. I've also I want to thank you, mate, for coming on for all the stuff, all the time I've been doing stuff. You've come on, you've given your expert opinion all the way from
Yeah,
like
thank you.
Manhattan or wherever you're from. Yeah, man. No one knows where you're from. But yeah, it's been good, mate. It's been good fun, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed you coming on, and if I'm back next year, I'll get you on again next
Yeah,
year, mate, for
yeah.
sure.
Fingers
And
crossed you're back next year.
yeah, that's it, mate. Do you know what I mean? Well, everyone, that's West Ham Online's player ratings. Check it out. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Polls, and have a good summer. So take care, all.
Yeah, enjoy everyone. Have a good summer.